We're just about to hit October, but is there still time for fertilizer? Let's talk about it today. If you remember, fall is the most important time for cool season lawns to get their fertilizer going into the next season and get prepared for not only winter, but that summer heat that's coming next year in the most stressful time. So maybe you're like me though, and you've had a few things going on and you haven't done your fall program as you normally do. So is there still time when we get to October here to add an app or maybe two of fertilizer before you get to the cold weather? Absolutely there is. So today that's exactly what I'm going to be doing, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to use, why I'm using it, and some various different things with that. All right, so we have a couple of new lawn supply company fertilizers, which I'm going to be using today. This first one is all about taking nitrogen to the max. So we have various forms of nitrogen. In this one, we have urea and ammonium sulfate, so you get a quick response. But also we have a couple other forms in there that are going to have much more of a controlled, slow release over time, so that you get the benefit of both. You get that quick green up, but you also have that color holding on for a longer period of time. With this one, we also have the root promoting peptides in there, and we have EDDHA iron, which is going to be the only form of chelated iron that's in a granular form that's going to be available to a broad range of pH values. And then top that off here with the biochar added to this one. So you've got a complete package here for a nitrogen source that's going to get you that quick release, and that's also going to hold on for a much longer period of time. I'm going to be using this on this test plot back here. This fescue has not had any fertilizer now in I think 12 or 13 weeks. The testing that I talked about back here multiple times, we'll talk about that fertilizer in a second, but this one has a larger prill size, so it's better for the taller lawns. So that's why I'm going to be using it on this section right here. Also quickly here, I forgot to mention you have different rates that you can apply. So you have a medium rate here, which is 0.5 pounds of N on the ground, and you have a high rate, which is 0.75 pounds of N. So I'm going to be using the high rate today. Over here on the spreader setting, I'm going to be going after the Earthway. It's very similar to this spreader right here. So I'm going to be using a setting of 16. Kind of reminds me of Nerd's candy, actually. I'm going to be using the exact same thing on my larger turf plots, and then we'll talk about the real mowing plots here in a second and what I'm going to use on those, and then we'll also talk about these other smaller plots and probably a better situation for fertilizer on those. So what I'm going to be applying to these plots behind me, these are my real mowed test plots, is a new greener product that we have. We now have a greener liquid, which is an iron and a couple other micronutrient product. It's going to give you an extra boost of green color that you can use along with something like Equalizer, or you can use it along with a granular program, whatever you like to do, but it is in a liquid form. Then also we have a soluble form of greener, so that's going to be an extra shot of iron, and that one is in a soluble powder, so you can mix it yourself, add it to some other products if you'd like. And this one is going to round out your granular option. So the difference between the Maxer and the greener is going to be, first thing you're going to notice as far as difference goes is this is 75 SGN. So this is going to be a greens grade product, meaning that the prill size is going to be very small. That's typically going to be best for short cut grass, but you can use this on taller cut grass. This is actually the exact product that I was testing on that tall fescue this summer, and it worked great on there, but you need to be precise with your application, and the actual settings on your spreader are going to be a lot lower because of that prill size. So a lot of people, they don't see a whole lot coming out as far as visually if you're used to a larger prill size, so they think, oh, I must not be putting out very much fertilizer, and maybe you bump up the rate and you're actually going over what you should be applying. So be very careful with that, but it can be used on both short cut and taller cut turf. This is going to have more of your ammoniacal nitrogen in it, so that's going to be great for higher pH soils. You can use it on anything, but if you are going after using something like ammonium sulfate because of your pH, then this is going to have a higher percentage of that. So you're going to get that fast color response out of this, but what I found on here is you're going to get that boosted color right at the beginning, but then we added in some of these urea forms that are going to take longer to break down, and I actually got 10 weeks of color response out of this on sandy soil over here. That is really fantastic for a fertilizer to last on sandier soil like that. Same thing in here as well. We have the peptides and we have the biochar. So that's going to be kind of the differences between the Maxer and the Greener. But I'm going to be putting this on these real mode plots now and see how that goes. So that absolutely spreads like butter. I can't wait to get our new lawn installed up by the house, and not sure that's gonna happen this season. It's still kind of wishy-washy right now as to what's gonna happen, but that product right there is gonna be a go-to for me. I can tell already. Love the way that it spreads, so even and nice and just smooth. Really been looking for something like that for a long time, and I can tell it's gonna be great for my ryegrass long term. So then for areas like this, these really small plots, sure, I could come through here and try to just do a quick blast of fertilizer with my granular there, but I think the best method is going to be going to a liquid onto this. One, I can be much more targeted and make sure that I only apply it where I need it. And also liquid is going to be a good option in general. I'm going to feed directly to the leaf of the plant here with the fertilizer. I don't have to wait for anything to break down, even though those other ones have some quick release in there as well. This is going to be pretty much an instant feeding though to the plant. So that's where liquids come in. I use them in different scenarios. I use them more on low cut turf. I use them in the summertime when I'm wanting to keep going on my fertilizer program without adding a whole lot of granular to it. I've talked about this many different times before, so if you go back in the catalog here, you're going to see some stuff on what I use liquids for and all that. But today, I'm going to be using the Simple Lawn on this just because it's easy to hook up to a hose here. I don't have to put my sprayer on here, get that out for a small plot. Just going to hook up that hose end, spray this with some 16-4-8, and I'll be done with the fertilizer on this plot. So something to remember here, you're going to want to make sure that you get those granulars watered in. So I can get away with applying these in the middle of the day right now just because we have really cool weather. It's only in the 60s today. But if it's hot, middle of the day, you don't want to really be applying anything to the lawn. Wait until later and get that watered in with your usual irrigation in the next morning time. Or apply before a rain or whatever you can do to time that up. But for me today, I'm going to get this stuff watered in here very soon. And that's the application of fertilizers today. So yes, you can absolutely get some fertilizer down yet, even though it's getting later into the season, but there's still plenty of time. I'm hoping to get one more app done yet before we get to the really cold weather. Hopefully that explains everything today. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments section. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.